Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Artist Spotlight. Today we have very special guest, Adele. How are you, Adele? Adele Sypesteyn. Did I say it right?
Perfect. It's Sypesteyn. It's perfect. Don't worry about it. Everyone,
Yeah.
it's
Awesome.
a hard name, so
Yeah,
it's perfect.
that's good. Yeah. So today we're gonna learn more about Adele. If you don't know her, well, she's already like a superstar out there, doing a lot of tutorials and teaching here and there. She's been in the art world for a while. We met in 2020. We chat, and I still have our recording on my website, so that's awesome. Now it's my turn to ask Adele, where you're from and how you get here, and all the things that you do and what are you doing right now. So let's get started, Adele. So tell us who you are, who people who don't know you yet.
Okay. Well, hi, Nino, and thank you so much. I feel honored to be asked to be on the interview and to talk with you. So we got to know each other, and I just love your work and really respect you as an artist and as a teacher yourself. So this is a real honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So where are you right now? You're originally from New Orleans, yes?
Yes.
And then you have a studio, or you moved to Seattle, Bainbridge Island. When was that? When did you move?
I was born and raised in New Orleans my whole life, and then I got divorced in New Orleans, and so I wanted to start fresh, and so I moved to Seattle back in 1997 because a sibling of my sister lived there with her husband, and I'm much more of a West Coast person than an East Coast person, so that's where I moved to, and my kids moved with me, and then I ended up meeting my second husband, who was from Seattle, and so I just love that area. And so then we live in Seattle, and now we have a place on Bainbridge Island and live there.
And that's your studio, your base. Is your base in New Orleans or okay?
Both. I have both. We travel back and forth. In both places, we have very small, places to live and a studio in both. And we go back and forth. We just bring all the camera equipment back and forth, the cameras, but we have lighting in both. So it's all set up, but we have children here in New Orleans and grandchildren, and we also have them on Bainbridge. So that's why we have those places. And then I have a daughter and her family live in Los Angeles. So we travel between those three places to see kids, grandkids. So it's all over.
Refreshing, every different, place, different weather, and that's great. So how do you start doing art? What inspired you to get
started
to art and to teaching?
Well, I'll fast track that till now, but I grew up in a very artistic family. My mother was an abstract artist, and so we just I'm one of four siblings, and we just experienced it from day one. So the whole creativity, we just knew we're all artists as grown-ups. We each have a different creative bent. And each of us, I'm a painter and sculptor, and it kind of morphed into teaching. It wasn't planned that way, but my life has always been like, well, you never know what's around the corner because something shows up, and then you just kind of go with it. That's just so that's how it ended up there. But I just have always done art. And when I got divorced, I was on my own. So I really needed to start looking at it as a living, how to, from a business perspective. Before, I didn't really have to. It was just like pleasure and a hobby. And I did have galleries and sell, but it wasn't like, okay, I really need to crack down on this. I need to learn the business aspect. So that was way like 1997. So that was a long time ago. And I just took masterminds. I learned everything I could to get my hands on about business, and not necessarily business in the arts, but just business. And I found that I loved business, total surprise, because business is very creative, just like art. It's like you have to come up with ideas. You have to have imagination. And I'm someone who's like, oh, I'll try anything. I say yes to, oh, I'll try that. I'll try that. It,
Yeah.
so
What's
most
so
of,
awesome about you. Like when I peek through your movies, you know, on YouTube, you have a lot of tips and tricks. You just have a bunch of stuff in there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
And I tried different ways of like, to me, if you don't try, you
mhm.
have no idea. Sometimes the thing that you think is going to be the best is
Yeah.
not the best. And things that you think, well, that's a long shot. I don't know how that's going to work. That turns out to be the best. So
Yeah.
I have tried so like shows, galleries,
Uh-huh.
you know, put up your set, you know, rent a space and have your own show. I've
Mhm.
tried so many
You'll try
things
everything.
and learn
Great.
something from, and that's the thing, you learn something from everyone.
Hmm.
Everything you know, you
Yeah.
learn something from.
Yeah.
So I just have all these things, and I just love to see how my experience through all these 30 plus years of being in the arts, you know, as a living, depending on it as a living, how I
Hmm.
can help offer the tips of what worked for me, what didn't work, what might work for somebody else. And of
Yeah.
course, now the online, there wasn't any online back then,
Yeah. 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 You're the
didn't even
pioneer.
exist. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all new. So it's so much easier now for artists, which is a wonderful thing that so many more artists can show their work
Hmm.
online. They don't have to have a gallery, which was the only way to get your work sold, you
Yeah.
know, years ago in the beginning.
Yeah.
And even then, I had I had just a couple of galleries and they did very well, but then it was like, you know, it's a percentage. Like I don't want to put all my what I'm going to earn every month into
Yeah.
one or two
One.
people's hands because every gallery owner is different.
Yeah.
So I thought of it like statistics. Well, if I have 10 galleries, then
Exactly.
at least I have a better chance,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
That's
So
your business mindset right there,
yeah,
thinking right there, right? Yeah.
right.
Don't put you know, eggs in one basket. That
Absolutely.
diversify. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Um,
you know, if I always try to look at having 5 different sources of income
mhm.
all the time. So if one
Yeah.
doesn't work or there's a season that it doesn't work,
Yeah.
sometimes the holiday season is better, sometimes the summer is not as good, depending on which parts of the country even.
Hmm.
So I've learned a bunch of that, and I try to always have like 5 different ways to have money coming in as an artist,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. So what's inspire your work? Um, because you're have you always been an abstract painter, or is it changed over time?
I've always been an abstract painter,
Okay.
but I've grown into other areas later in my career
Hmm.
because my first influences were my mother, who was an abstract painter. So I
Mm,
kind of
okay.
naturally tended
Yeah.
in that area, but I really love realism.
Hmm.
So I wanted to study some realism. So, you know, I know all the technical ways to do that. And
Hmm.
so I wanted to just do it for fun and for something different. So I
Yeah.
have a period where I did that.
Yeah.
I wanted to do landscapes. I wanted to do florals. I wanted to do people. So I've tried all the different genres and
Yeah.
really like, because it flows over no matter what you do as an artist, you still have your kind of technique or your handwriting, so to speak,
Yeah.
that it's yours no matter what you do, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah. So once you try all of these things, you ended up with abstract. You stick with abstract then for a while, or you still
Um,
try different things
Well, as
around
far
it?
as, well, it depends. I personally have done abstract for so long, you
Yeah.
know, that it's really for me to be inspired and to keep it going. I always like to try to, what am I going to do different this time? So I
Hmm.
always give myself like a series that I'm going to do something different, which keeps my interest all these
Yeah. Yeah.
years. You
Yeah.
know, and even in abstract, I could say, well, I'm going to do a series of like dark paintings because I
Hmm.
typically do neutrals. So I'm like,
Mm.
what would I do if I just did dark paintings? Or what would I do if I just did a monochrome paintings? You know, so
Yeah.
I'm
Changing it up.
all,
Yeah.
yeah, just mixing it up. And
Yeah.
then I love interiors, which is how my work, being born in New Orleans and raised, the influence of the walls of the city
Mm.
are so gorgeous with the layered patinas and age. And
Okay.
you know, and that kind of thing. So that is really what my abstract paintings are about, is a section of walls or interiors that are dilapidated, you
Okay.
know, and just
Uh-huh.
layers after layers after layers. So
Cool.
it's, I mean, I can go downtown and just I take photos of close-ups of the
Hmm.
walls. And I
Yeah.
literally have studied, okay, look how they did that. Look how they
Yeah.
did that. I mean, I've analyzed, you know,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah.
I've just kept developing different techniques to get
Nice.
certain effects, you
Yeah.
know?
I can imagine you walking around with your family and hold on, I want to see this wall. Wait,
Oh,
how did you, oh, wait, what? and,
they-
and
they're
your
used to it
grandchildren's
by
like,
now.
what are you doing?
I know. And even floors. I remember not too long ago, I was in Seattle and I went with a friend to Nordstrom downtown, the
Mhm.
main one, and they were redoing a whole section of the floors and they were just gorgeous. So I
Uh-huh.
stopped and we were
Yeah.
sitting there just taking
Just looking.
pictures and pictures and pictures of the floors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's always been my inspiration for abstract work,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know.
Okay, cool. And did you do some horses as well?
I
Or
did.
was it photography? I can't
Yeah, it
remember.
was photography.
Okay.
And this was interesting how I didn't plan on doing that, but I
Yeah.
was in a really beautiful high-end gallery in Telluride.
Hmm.
And so I went to have a solo show there. This was years ago. And then I just drove around. I had a friend who lived there. And so they drove me around and there were tons of horses there. And I've
Hmm.
always been fascinated by horses, just their physicality of their body and then these tiny little legs. And how
Yeah.
does that work?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, and so I just, what do you call it? Oh, and so I just took photos and I thought, well, if
Hmm.
I did, because the horses were popular there. So I said,
Yeah.
well, if I were to do another show there and I wanted to do horses, what
Yeah.
would I do? What would I come up with? And so I
Yeah.
tried for a long time. I painted them, I collaged them, I did everything. And then I thought, I love black and white photography.
Hmm.
So I thought if I took photos of horses and oversized them so that it's just the head or just the hair or just this group coming at you, and then made them not just black and white photographs, but that I painted over them so they would be, every one would be an original.
I see.
So
Yeah.
that's what I did. That's
That's
what I did, and
yeah. Yeah.
they were very popular. So, and
Yeah.
it was another huge learning curve as to how to do each one of those. Um,
Okay.
there's always a learning curve.
Oh
There
yeah.
was
Yeah.
someone who, I didn't even know where I was going to get the horse. And
Uh-huh.
Telluride Gallery loved them and wanted to come up with something. So I wanted white horses. So I literally put an ad in Craigslist: white
Oh
horse
really?
needed, will trade for photos. And I
Oh
got
wow.
someone immediately, and I
Nice.
photographed Candle, was his
Hmm.
name, for years, and we
Mm.
just exchanged. I gave her all the photos that I had for the horse. So things just develop, and it's just
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
things,
That's cool.
know.
Yeah. So on all of these things that you have tried, from doing your own shows and galleries, or you know, I don't know, arts fairs, which one of these that's your favorite, or top three things that you like out of these, including your academy as well, right? So from
Yeah,
all these eggs on different baskets, which
yeah.
baskets that's your favorite, you think?
Well, there are two that top the pile,
Mm-hmm.
and right now it's the Art with Adele Academy,
Mm-hmm.
because I have just this passion to share as much information as I can from
Yeah.
all the things that I've tried, all the techniques, all the business, all the how-tos, so that I can help whoever is interested in learning about the different things.
Yeah.
So that is my passion. And I think as I've gotten older, I just like, I need to do this before something happens. I just want to
Uh-huh.
share everything so
Yeah.
they don't have to go through the hardships, or, just options. It's giving
Mhm.
options.
Yeah.
So, so that's one thing. And the other thing was, I loved, as much as I loved being in the galleries, when I pulled out and I didn't know what I was going to do to earn my
Mhm.
living, and I took a stab at showing at this antique fair
Mm.
in Texas, the Round Top Antique Show. And
Okay.
I'd never had no idea. This was years ago and it was still just building. but having to design a whole space
Mm,
and just meeting, it was meeting the people where
mm,
you could connect one-on-one, where in the galleries, I never got a chance to really meet the people who appreciated my
right.
work or bought
Yeah.
my work. But this, I could talk one-on-one. Oh, what
Mm,
do you like about that? And it was fascinating because it kept growing and growing and growing, what I was selling in the booth.
yeah.
And I could say, what is it about that you like? And so I could get immediate feedback from the people, and they were just the most wonderful people. So we pulled out of it. I was sad to pull out of it, but I had to. It was just the heat was horrible, and then
Uh,
the physicality of the
yeah.
show. We
This is like
moved.
art fair type of show event,
It
kind of.
is huge, and I had never heard
Mm,
about it before. But my
mhm.
brother and sister-in-law were part of it, and that's only how I've heard of it. But there are
Okay.
literally thousands of people who come
Uh,
twice or now 3 times a year. And back when I did it, there was hardly anyone doing the arts. And
mm,
so, or fine art. Now
yeah,
there are
yeah.
more and more. It's tripled and quadrupled from when I first started there.
Hmm.
But I thought, well, so again, it's morphing and trying things. When I first
Hmm.
tried, and I had my abstract paintings, and I didn't have the horses then, and it was like people were not as knowledgeable or didn't like the abstract paintings as much in
Yeah.
that part of the country. And so they would come into my booth and just leave and come into my booth. And I just watch,
What is this
right
thing?
through, right through. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we got to do something different here. So, and
Uh-huh.
that's just it. When the first
Uh,
thing doesn't work, you keep trying it. It's like, okay, they're not here for art. They're here for
yeah.
furniture. So
Hmm.
I have to go get some furniture.
Ah, yeah. That's the hook.
That was the hook.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't, so I made friends with a lot of the dealers there, and I would buy some of their furniture, which they were thrilled about, and I'd bring it
Uh-huh.
over to my booth,
Ah, okay.
and then show it so people could actually see how you can have antiques, beautiful antiques, and still have contemporary abstract work. So
Hmm.
everything is about kind of trying things and not expecting that it's going to work the first, second, third, or even fourth time. But
Yeah.
okay, that didn't work. Let me try this a different time, or this a different time.
Yeah. 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 That's awesome.
Yeah.
That seems to be the natural kind of tendency of artist. Well, or entrepreneur like you. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
trying things out and go for it and trying things out. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
if I never think that the first time I try something, whether it's a new type of painting or a new anything, I
Yeah.
just know that, okay, this isn't going to go like I want it to. And so
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
expect it. If something
Hmm.
comes from it that I like, I'm
Yeah.
thrilled to pieces. Like,
Right.
wow,
Right. Right.
that was cool. So that's one of the biggest things I would tell artists is check in with your expectations.
Mm. Hmm.
I don't love
Yeah.
every painting I do. I really
Yeah.
like all of them, but there's some that are standouts that I really do love, but
Yeah.
not to expect every painting you do to love it. I
Love
don't
it.
know if
Yeah.
you feel that way. I mean,
Right.
or share that, but you
Yeah.
can't possibly do thousands of paintings and love
Love
like the
every
best
one
one,
of them.
every one, you know?
Well, I would say I could love most of them
Uh-huh.
at the time you created it. The
Yes.
next day you might see what happened there. What have I done? Those things happen. I would say a lot. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Not that
And
I hated them. It's just it just
no,
evolved. Your eyes somehow reset a day or a week after.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
But
you kind of let them sit. And what I used to do when I used to have a bigger house than we live in, a really small houses now, but
yeah.
I used to live with them and put them up on all the walls so I could live
Uh,
with them and see them in the same environment that they will be seen.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, and another one of the tricks that I haven't even told the people in the academy yet is that I don't paint with bright lights on, because it's most likely that the painting will end up in a home that doesn't have a spotlight on it. So
Uh,
I need to,
yeah.
if I do it with that and
Yeah.
it's not going to be seen that way, then
Different. Yeah.
it's I do a lot of subtlety. So it's like I have to bring out the subtlety
I
or
see.
do more contrast to make
Mhm.
sure that it is seen,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in the light that it's going to be seen in a home, say.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. So tell us more about your academy. How's that going? How did you start it, and where is it going now?
Well, that's a wonderful question. And I never expected or set out to do it like it is. Again,
Yeah, of course. Just
one
like
thing
you try
leads
it
to,
out.
yeah. And so I knew when I pulled out of the round top experience to sell the paintings, I still had to earn a living.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll teach a course. At that time, about 4 or 5 years ago, is just when things were starting where you could teach online. It wasn't as big as it is even right now, but it was. So I'm like, well, I have to learn how to do all that. And how do you do that? And so I just took like a year or 2 years cram course into what do you have to do to teach a course? How do you put it together? How do you film it? All the details. So then I came across, one of the things I learned is that the best thing to do is to create an email list. Top line. That's the most important, an email list. So you can communicate with the people that, are interested in your work.
Yeah.
And so I started, well, how do you create an email list? Yeah, I don't know. And so I came across this girl on YouTube, Sunny Lenarduzzi, and she just blew me away. I was looking at one of her videos on finding out how to do Instagram, social media. And below her thing, her video, she had what you call a lead magnet. Well, I didn't even know what a lead magnet was back then, but you give something to people who want their email address. So I'm like, bingo, I have to start a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's how the whole YouTube thing came about. I didn't set out to do it that way, but when I saw that, I thought, okay, well, so I just started doing the YouTube channel, and I took her course, or a couple of her courses, and to learn all about keywords, SEO, all that stuff about, and so I just started it, but I started it with I'm not going to worry about, it's like, first of all, I hate being in front of a camera. I never have liked it. I always like background, but I thought, you know what? Teaching is more important than how I look. So I didn't pay any attention. I said, if I'm going to do this, I have to just show up and be myself. And so that's basically how it started going. And to make it fun, so I mess up a lot. I have all the bloopers. It's like, we don't edit anything. It's like what you see. It's like, it's a go. And so it just, people seem to like that way, what I was doing. And so it just kept growing. But after a year of that, it really took a lot of time to do those. So I said, I can't do them free for another year.
So you were in YouTube for a year, all of that content, you just put it on YouTube.
Okay. Every week. I did a YouTube every week in 2019. That's when I started, the January 2019. And by the end of the year, I was, I can't keep doing this for another year. So I said, I'm going to start a membership, and I'll just charge for what I did on YouTube, but I won't give it free. I'll just charge a little bit and continue teaching every week. And so that's how that started. So I never did the course. This is how it evolved. So I continued teaching every week. And now, wow, it's been 2.5 years, and we have over like 130 videos, but every week I still come out with something new and teach.
So those are resources that you got, and people can get them in your academy, basically. That's a lot of resource.
And it's the other thing too is, so many people have asked, and one of the things that I noticed from the responses and comments from the YouTube were, they liked that I was explaining my thought process, kind of like thinking out loud, and in the beginning, it was really hard to think about what I was doing and explain it while videotaping. So in the beginning of I did like voiceovers, but then they liked it so much. I said, well, okay, I'll just, talk out loud. So that became a real thinking point. And now I can't stop myself, even if I'm painting by myself.
You stuck to yourself.
Like, what am I going to do this? I'm putting it here. Why am I putting it here?
Did it, do you have to kind of learn how to do that, or does it come naturally for you to work and talk at the same time? What do you think?
Now, well, after 2 years,
after a while,
it comes natural. I do think about kind of the sort of direction, because of course, if I'm doing it, in front of the camera, I never know what I'm going to do. And
Yeah.
so, I don't do it and then go back. It's like, once it's shot, it's shot. This is how it goes. And so
Hmm.
they see how, oh gosh, that didn't work. Okay, what am I going to do with that? And so they literally can see me working through struggles and
Right.
obstacles and, okay, oh, that worked right away. Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
leaving that alone.
Yeah.
So that has been, at least people in the academy have responded that that has been extremely helpful to them,
Yeah.
you know, and not just watching me, but I literally, like, okay, the next thing, what's not working and why isn't it working? Where am I going to start? So it's been great teaching moments. So it just kind of, again, evolved, and
Yeah.
I was there like, tell me what you want. I'll be happy to do it, you know?
Nice. So that's great. So the academy is open every how many times a year?
It's open 3 times a year, in
Uh-huh.
January, May,
Right.
September, January and September, and then for a quick time in December, like just a flash, like I don't do a lot of marketing around it or what have
Yeah,
you.
just open a
It's
little
just
bit.
like beginning of December for like 2 days. So it's really
Mhm.
3 major times a year that the academy's open,
Yeah.
because I just can't do the marketing, and that was another whole thing to learn. Marketing.
Isn't that hard? Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that's might be part of the why we open and close too, right? Because when it's open, then you kind of have to market, and
Yeah.
we all of us sometimes have some allergic reaction to to the
Yes.
idea of yeah marketing or selling, and how do you do that without selling? How do you be yourself, right? That's
And pretty much I've learned, like, you know what? This is just what I have. If it sounds like something you want, wonderful. If it
yeah,
doesn't, wonderful.
wonderful. Yeah,
It's this is I just want to tell you that it's there, and
yeah,
that's it. There's
yeah.
just no way I'm a salesperson, and a
Mhm.
marketer. It's just not who I am. And
Yeah,
I just want to offer it and let people know. And you have a membership. Do you have a course, or is it
yeah.
just a membership?
Well, there's a course in the membership, but all
Oh,
is
okay.
it's in one space, so it's not like extra or anything. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, but the concept is similar to you. I think it's more about opening up my studio, and so they can follow along what I'm doing. I'm in the process of going somewhere.
Uh-huh.
I'll just show what I'm working on, and my failure, my successes, and all of this stuff. So learning from doing. So I don't do a lot of maybe theory and things like that. Maybe I do sometimes like design, composition, but then how to apply that. That's the key, I think, right?
Uh-huh.
Being in the membership, that's what we offer, like a space
Yeah.
to apply that and ask questions and just be ourselves, like a safe space
Yeah.
to not knowing something. Sometimes it's very hard when we as artists, putting things on social media. It's really tricky, right? You put yourself out there and somebody could say, well, that sucks, or
Yeah.
just people
Yeah.
to say mean things to
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So at least this space first has to be the safe space for everybody,
Yeah.
you know um learning to walk, learning to talk type thing. So yeah. And you know it's funny that some of my members are your members as well,
Uh-huh.
and people knows me from our interview in the beginning, so it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh my gosh, Adele's like my hero, or like my
Oh God.
guardian angel.
Oh, well, and
I learned so much
I
from you.
love that. I
Mhm.
love that we can share and that we offer so many things to
Yeah,
different things, and
yeah,
that the artists now and people who want to create have a variety of things to choose from.
yeah,
Instead of like one art school, or I mean, I've been to 5 or 6 different art schools, but
yeah.
now there's a wealth of information, and
Mm.
we each do something different, which I think really benefits everybody in the art world, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and how to learn. And you see, you offer certain things, I offer different things, and some might be the same, but you know, it's all the teacher, and you can learn so much, I think, by doing multiple things, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about or explaining the same thing, but the way I explain or the words that I use different than how you use it too, right? That's and people trigger that differently or understand things differently. Yeah. And also
and you might show something, or the way you I've seen where you have your these plastic containers with your paint mixed, and it's like, and you pick it up, and it's just like, you might not have seen that before, you know, somebody might not have seen that before. And I think that's just such a wonderful thing. I do it similar, but in a different way. And so people can, when you see different things, it's just like I was talking about before, you can see which one, or try different things to see what works best for you.
Yeah. I don't know, like I mean, you've been in the world for, you know, longer than I do. Like, you know, on the art world, like, do you see a shift or different like how artists, I don't know, I was gonna say treat each other? Is it is it same than before? Is it like I don't know, supporting each other more now or than before? Is it about the same? Or I mean, I feel like that's my hope, is that, you know, we're kind of lift each other up a little bit more. That the fact that there's social media, that could be minus, could also be plus. It's a plus where we see each other's work and inspire each other, but also kind of rooting for each other, right? Versus before, we don't have that.
Right. And before, you know, it was just galleries. And so because that was the only way, I think there was a lot more competition. Like, oh, I didn't get in that gallery, but that person did.
I see,
and you know, and I tell people even now, just because you might get rejected from a gallery doesn't mean your work isn't good. Galleries can only take a variety of artists of different works. So if they already have an artist who has work similar to yours, they're not going to accept you, but that doesn't mean your work isn't good. There are a myriad of reasons. So I think before there was probably more competition between the artists, where I don't see as much now. I have so much contact, and I love seeing the successes of every artist, whether you've been doing it a lifetime, whether you just started. So I think that it's much better now. I mean, you'll always have some sort of competition, I guess, but I wish that would totally disappear, and just be able to support everyone who is creative in whatever way, you know, and not judge the outcome, you know. Just because you might not like a work doesn't mean that it's not good, even if it's a different style than yours. It's just to support those of us, because it is, just like you said, it takes bravery to put yourself out there for everyone to comment on in the world.
It's funny. I saw one of your YouTube video, and there's a comment about, I think just negative comment, I don't remember what, but I just love how you reply to that. It's just so I don't know, it's class. You know, you don't take the bait, you know. You know, it's just very like, I think it's about, like, if I remember correctly, just they somehow that person didn't like it, and they just say like mean things, and then you just said, that's your taste, and it's okay, and you know, this is how we do it, and blah blah blah. That's awesome. So that's how you go far.
Well, and you know what, it's as hard as it is, I've learned not to take it personally, because I have, that is on YouTube, but when I was doing the Round Top show in person, so many people would come through and have, you know, I'm sure everyone who does abstract has heard, my grandchild, my 2-year-old can do that, you know? And so I just kind of smile and just give them sort of grace, because unless you've done abstract, it is so much harder than people think. And so it just says, well, that person just has never tried it and doesn't understand it, and that's okay.
That's okay.
You know, but I've learned I've had so many that comment to my face, and it's just like, well, just give them grace, you know. And
there you go.
Not personal,
awesome.
You know.
That's great.
They're just saying, I like something different, you know. So I try to translated. Like, it's
Mhm.
not that they, anyway. So you
Yeah.
just try to kind of put that aside, but it is hard for people who are, if you're just starting out, and it is really hard to get that to come back at you, especially
Mhm.
with abstract work, because there are a lot of people who don't understand it.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I don't think my parents, but they like it. I mean, I don't know if it's biased, but but still,
Yeah,
like, they like it at first, but then what is it?
yeah, yeah.
Which is fine. Yeah.
And
Anyway.
so that's the whole thing that I found out and I learned from that show in Texas. So many
Mhm.
people really need to see something in it. It makes them
Mhm.
feel safe or secure. It's really
Yeah.
a challenge to not know, well, what is it?
Yeah.
Is it a whale? It looks like an ocean. They have to
Yeah.
identify it. And it really
Right.
isn't that. If they want to see something in it, that's
You
totally
can.
fine. It's not what I
Yeah.
meant. Um, but I think that's just a type of way of seeing it. So part
Yeah.
of that made me say, okay, now I'm going to do realism to show that I know how to do realism.
I'll
But
show you horse though.
yeah, but I'm gonna. So, it's not like abstract artists don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And not everybody does. And what difference does it make?
Yeah.
What difference does it make?
Yeah. I know.
So
But
I'm very passionate about supporting artists in every way. So
yes, I can tell.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Let's see. What's the how about before we wrap up? Advice. Advice to, well, you gave advice already once, but maybe more.
Uh-huh.
You have so many, either advice for your past self or other artists. That'd be good.
It's really a couple things. First of all, like I said before, it was about expectation.
Yeah.
And it's also listen to your own voice.
Hmm.
Give honor to your instincts, because that is you. That is you talking. That is, it's, you don't have to understand where it comes from, but if you build up that muscle, your work will just become more and more you, and you don't have to define it. It's just,
Yeah.
you put it out there in the world, because it's like everyone's handwriting. It's all different,
Yeah.
and it could be the same exercise, but everyone's going to do it differently. But if you trust your instinct, it will be more you, and
Yeah.
not try to give in to the fear of if this is going to be liked. That's, and judged. And
Yeah.
that is tough. It is tough. But you got to find a way through that. But it's just to keep going. It's just to keep going.
To
And
to understand or to hear the instinct, you don't want to stop, right? It's
right.
keep practicing, practicing.
Yeah.
Just like any sports or any things that you do. And nice.
No famous baseball player has hit a home run every time they've gone to the bat. I mean, it's so it's learning. Basically, it's having the courage and to pat yourself on the back for continuing, because not having things work and trying to figure out what doesn't work. Every painting is going to be different, and some are going to come easily, some are going to be tough, but you don't just stop and put them aside because you don't know what to do. Just keep on going, and you'll find a way through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, do you have any other things you want to share? This is great. Well, thank you again for your time.
I love it. And I just have to compliment you, Nino, because I love your work. It feels so fresh and so good. And I have one question. How do you come up with so many names of food?
Yeah. You just try it, just like you said.
It's like,
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I repeat. I do a lot of cream. I think because I like cream. I like cream. I like sweet. I like steak. I try not to eat too much of those. I like fried food. And also, I try not to eat too much of those. But I just think about, think about what I like to eat. Basically, that's like you said. Listen to your own things, like what I like, and then try to bring it out. Even I don't know, any kind of, you know, bitter greens or things like that, spinach, put it out there.
And do you think of the name before you start the painting, or after, or during the process? I'm
After.
probably not supposed to ask you all these questions.
No, I'll do it after usually, because if I start with the title, it's too strict, right? You just,
Yeah.
It's you want to be free, you want to be a kid and play around, and then at some point, then you kind of clean up and do some arrangement and things like that, and then once you're done ish, and you go, oh, that looks like something with cream. Okay, it's a, I don't know, lemon cream or something, you know. It's not, I think the naming part should be fun, and that's how I feel about it. It's a fun naming. And then but I try not to think about the naming it as in like I have to start over every piece. I have a set of series, like, so I named the series. Once you have the series, then you can just have fun how you name each pieces, right? So yeah, it's,
oh, that's cool.
it's fun.
Well, I've never seen anyone who has names like you do, and so I love it, and I always look at your titles.
Yes.
I'm like, where is he? Is it about food? Is this about cream? Is this about spinach? Is this about... So I love that. It gives it so much more personality. I love it.
Yeah, I do. That's the thing that we talk about as well in the community about titles. You know, you can always put on titles, but I personally feel title is a way to ground the viewer, or you know. If it's on title, maybe you can say, okay, that could be anything I want.
Right.
Until you read the artist statement, then you can understand what it is, right? But if you have title underneath, it's literally saying, oh, it's about that. You can agree or disagree, but still it's kind of like a common ground for everybody who see them saying, oh, it's about blah. You know, for me, it's like about food. Okay, it's food. Yeah, that looks abstract and it doesn't look like anything like food. Okay, but you know, at least you start somewhere. Anyways,
and I think titling should be fun. I did it for so long, and I would just you know, then it was like, okay, I'm going to do something really fun and really play with everybody. So I would do something that said like, oh, 3 red dots. And there were no 3 red dots in there. So they would kind of look, where are the dots? Blue line.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. Like, what are you talking?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is abstract. I get it now.
3 black, you know, circles. There are no 3 black circles in there, just to make it fun. Kind of like, you know, where's Waldo? Is it in there? Is it not in there?
That's fun. Yeah, that's great. Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Well, cool. Well, all right. Well, thanks again for your time. And are you traveling back when are you coming back to Seattle again?
Oh, I'll come back in about a month. I'll come back in about a month.
Just go around.
So I'll be there. Yeah.
Nice.
I'll come back in a month, and we're having my stepson and his wife are having a baby at the beginning of June. So we'll be there for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. Thanks again for this chat, and I'll see you around.
Yeah. Thank you, Nino. I loved it. It's always so good to see you.
Awesome.
You're so much fun.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.